Ramble.
Thank you to Rosetta Stone and BetterHelp for sponsoring today's episode.
Rachel McAdams.
Rachel McAdams. Rachel McAdams. Rachel McAdams.
Mania! Welcome to Guilty Pleasures. This is week 4 of McAdams Mania. All this month we have been celebrating the oeuvre, the work, the life, the legacy of one Rachel McAdams. She is our queen. We worship at the altar.
Correct.
I just realized we've never had a Tucci McAdams movie, and I think I would explode.
Oh my God, does it exist? Someone find it for us.
It would be so sick. Or make it. Make it for
Yeah.
us. I'm feeling really good. I'm feeling really saucy.
Ooh.
Today, we're talking about time.
It's about damn time. In a minute, I'm gonna need a man, a woman to hype me up. Feeling fuzzy, walking in my Balenciagas, trying to get out of fabulous.
Cause I don't give a fuck.
Oh, way too much. I'm gonna need like 10 shots in my cup.
This is the Richard Curtis time-traveling rom-com. This is one of his follow-ups to Love Actually.
Oh.
Yeah, it kind of makes sense when you
Now
And you look
that I
at
know.
the casting as well.
Yep.
And the story in general.
and the portrayal of horniness as love.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'd say that's his defining feature.
Yeah, absolutely.
So this was
Limerence.
My boys. I'm so proud of my boys.
we use limerence on the reg now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So first of all, we are all decked out in our uniform. We didn't talk about this, but we all came dressed in our Familia swag.
Totally accurate.
This is available at tryguys.com/guilty.
Yes, get
So-
it. These are so soft.
Yeah, we love these shirts. It's been really fun seeing y'all out in the world wearing them. We've seen someone wearing a Goofy's Fat Ash sweater
Cannot
at Disney. We've seen Familia make its way to a Dodgers game.
Yes.
Familia in East LA just feels right.
Feels
Yeah.
good. Feels good.
Garrick, I've had a lot of people ask me what car this is.
It is an RX-7.
Thank you. Which is whose car?
That is Dominic Toretto's car in the first movie.
Copy that. Thank you
The
very
red
much.
one.
Fuck yeah.
Okay.
Which, like, how do I get myself a hot pink RX-7?
With a tail.
I mean, get an RX-7
Why?
for $45,000, a car that used to be $25,000, but then the movie came out and it doubled,
Copy that.
and then paint it hot pink.
Okay.
What was I gonna say last night? If you want to sound even cooler, call it a FD RX-7.
FD.
What's the FD?
That is the
Franklin Delano Roosevelt.
That is the body code for it. So the FC RX-7 looks a lot different,
I love it.
but that's an FD.
All right, cool.
Thank you.
Sorry.
I'm
Familia.
such a poser.
Yeah.
I'm just like, vroom, vroom, cargo fast.
You're not a poser when you are familia.
Damn right. Damn
Family first.
darn
Damn fucking
tootin'.
right.
So all this month, we've been talking about the films of Rachel McAdams, and for years, About Time is one of those movies that has stood out as one that I've seen in the Twitter sphere and people talking about this is this underrated, under-talked about rom-com gem. This was my first time seeing this
Same.
movie, and a lot of what we do on this show is we see the movies we love, and we see the movies that we've been meaning to see for
Yeah.
a long time. And I was really surprised by this movie in a lot of ways. We will dive into it. I would say this is one of the most, we've seen and talked about Rachel McAdams' range as an actress, and this movie's crazy because she plays someone who's insecure.
Yeah.
Which
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
it makes no sense to me.
Before you start, can I read something that someone tagged me on Twitter this morning?
Yeah.
Please.
This is at Chan Lover Michaela. They said, Kelsey, I need to know if you've seen this quote from Ryan Gosling because it made me scream. And it's a quote from Ryan Gosling about The Notebook where he
fuck
said,
yeah, please.
people do Rachel and me disservice by assuming we were anything like the people in that movie, he says. Rachel in my love story is a hell of a lot more romantic than that.
Damn.
Ah!
Ryan Gosling is that guy, man.
Yo,
Ryan
even
Gosling. I mean,
what's her name? Even
Eva
Mendes. Lucky girl.
Yeah. Even him talking about her, where he's like, I played across from her with a family in the Wayward Pines.
Yes, and that's when I knew
And he
I
was
wanted
just like, I want to have this be for real. I want to have an actual family with this person because I've been pretending to have a family. It's just like, this is just fantastic for me.
But
For
to know
years-
that Rachel McAdams personally could be more in love than what she was in the
I know. How is
Notebook,
that even possible? To
It's
say
not.
that it's more romantic?
It's not.
I mean,
Yeah.
it probably just like was that passion, but without the fighting and toxic
Yeah.
relationship.
Yeah,
hot sex
Yeah,
the whole time.
if we're really thinking about it, it is possible.
I would watch those two.
Yeah.
Easy.
Ugh.
Art.
Anyway,
God.
That's art.
back to About Time.
Okay, sorry.
I just want them to team up again.
I know.
So About Time, if you haven't seen it, don't worry, we got you covered. This is a grounded sci-fi.
It is.
Yeah.
I know, that's a funny way to put it.
Yeah, well,
What's funny about sci-fi, Kelsey?
Because you don't see a lot of like straight romance. Usually the phi and the psi is the lead in these movies. This is this leads with love.
yeah, it's a
Garrick.
rom-fi.
Your mouth.
All right.
Well, what I find funny about it is the way that it approaches the science fiction of it all. And that's why I say grounded. It has a magical element inherent in it, but it is told, cinematically like a straight up rom-com.
Because
Yeah.
British.
Right.
Yeah, British.
So you have Domhnall Gleeson as Tim. He
Great.
finds out on his 21st birthday
Love
that
him.
all the men in his family can time travel.
Yeah.
Hilariously done.
They go into a dark room, either a cabinet or a closet, maybe a bathroom in a pinch.
Cupboard.
A cupboard, and they close their fists and they have to imagine a moment in their life. So you can't travel back in time to kill Hitler, as his dad tells him. You can't travel to the future, but you can revisit any moment in your life. And what does Tim use it for? He uses it for love.
Aww.
And so Tim meets Rachel McAdams, and he uses his time traveling abilities to try and create the perfect life with her. That's sort of the plot. There's more as it goes on.
Yeah.
Let's dive into it. This is About Time. So this movie is at its core a Richard Curtis
Yes.
movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it is a love story in the way that only Richard Curtis's brain works. We remember doing Love Actually,
Oh,
and
who could
he has this
forget?
uncanny ability to paint, it's not adolescent, like young male horniness
Yeah.
as
Absolutely.
love.
At
And
a-
I am sorry, your characters are not in love. They want to
They're
get
horny?
the nut off.
Yeah. Gotta get that nut off, baby. Gotta have that post-cum clarity. But like I think that he also knows how to write a meet cute really nice
Yeah.
and a meet cute at a house party really well, which was
Yeah.
very, very, very like nostalgic and very beautiful to see, in my opinion. Like him, no, he didn't meet her at a house party.
So
No,
He
he-
technically met her in the dark.
He met her a couple times.
Met her a couple
Yeah, because
times.
he redid it.
Yeah, met her.
Well, so the first, Tim is this hopeless romantic. He is hopelessly lost in love. I have never seen a character with less game
Oh
in
my
my
God.
entire
You find out
life.
you can fucking time travel, and what does our dork hero say? I'm gonna make it find me a girlfriend. And I was like, all right, weirdo. All right. You could have done money, power, fame, but you went, I gotta get some pussy. I'm a
Yeah.
virgin who needs love.
The way that he tries to flirt, Riz is the phrase, right?
Yeah, Riz, charisma.
That's what it means.
Oh my God, Zachary.
I didn't
It's so
know.
fun. It's so
I
fun.
thought it was just
That's
a goofy
adorable.
word.
Yeah.
It was like, ooh, put some Riz on it. Riz.
Hit him with the old rizzle dizzle.
Hit him with the old rizzle dizzle.
Dazzle, stop it.
Charisma. He's got the riz. Yeah, this man got no riz.
No
No,
Riz.
not
Negative
a single
Riz.
ounce of Riz.
Yeah.
The only time that he like, I felt it, where I'm like, okay, you're spitting some hot shit right now, was the second time he met her at the museum. No. The time that he met her
At the party.
At the party.
When
yeah.
he's like, I know you think this is your version of living hell. What if you come and get a bite
Yeah,
with me?
yeah,
And you're
yeah,
like,
yeah.
this man had confidence?
Yeah, I was just like,
No,
this
but
is-
then he goes up to her and he says, sorry, let me start that again. Let's talk about Kate Moss.
Yeah, that's
And you're
fair.
like, you're crazy.
That's fair,
This
but it's-
man's nuts.
That's fair, but it's also British. Like it's also
Yeah,
that's like
it's like an
British shit.
affable, like,
yeah. Like I'm so sorry. Anyway,
Yeah.
Domhnall
also,
Gleeson is hot in real life.
Yeah.
This character
Not
is
hot.
not
No.
hot.
But also the second time he was talking to Margot Robbie's character.
Oh,
Yeah, I was
forgot
like,
how
all right,
hot
when he
she is
came
in this
in-
movie too.
Fucking God.
Just she's not British. She
No,
does a
she's
British
not
accent.
Australian.
Yeah.
This movie has a very hot cast.
Yeah.
You have
Rachel
McAdams.
Duh.
Duh.
Top tier.
Margot Robbie. When before
With a sideswept bang.
Pre Wolf of Wall Street.
before you knew who Margot Robbie was,
Crazy.
she bursts into this movie, and you're like, I'm sorry.
Christ.
Yeah, you
Who
were
is
ready.
this
Oh, fuck,
literal
yeah.
goddess?
Yeah.
It is unfair. And Maggie walked into the room I was watching. She's like, no, this is just not fair. It's like she's too pretty to exist. And the movie comments on it too. It's like not in a way that I'm even like personally attracted. You're just like you don't belong in our world,
Yeah, go
Margot
ahead.
Robbie.
Yeah.
It just hurts to have you here because you're
Stunning.
too perfect.
Yeah.
You have Vanessa Kirby as just like a supporting role, and it's like
Alright.
she would normally be.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now we're fucking.
Is that
Now we're
her
talking.
sister?
Because that's
Who?
Rachel
She's
McAdams'
the
friend.
best friend.
Oh, she fine.
Vanessa Kirby is one of the
Vanessa Kirby
most stunning
is-
characters.
They call her
at
a sort of hot prostitute, like many times in this
Yeah,
movie.
which
Vanessa Kirby is one of the most beautiful women ever made, and to have her as a supporting
Is offensive.
character is weird.
What else is
when
she
you
in?
so recently she
Mission
was
Impossible.
in Mission Impossible, and when she came up in Mission Impossible, I was like, who the fuck is this? And I was shocked in awe. I didn't know people came like this. I didn't know they came in this type. I was just
You're talking
You're
about you when you
dating
got
one
home
of
later,
them.
right?
Yeah.
Oh my god. That was she's very, very stunning.
Yeah, you got a hot cast.
So we meet Rachel McAdams, but we don't see her. Tim goes to a restaurant with his best friend. Actually, sorry, huge side note.
Yeah.
Redhead representation galore in this film.
Top tier.
Tom Hall Gleason is a redhead, and his best friend is
Also
more
redhead.
redhead than him.
Yeah.
One of my favorite lines is like one of the opening lines where he's like, I've never been perfect. I'm too tall, too nerdy, too orange. I went, whoa. What I thought was interesting is he very quickly gains confidence by the third time he tries. Like, he gets to try these conversations over and over again, which made me really take a look at my life and go like, fuck, if I could do things over again, I would be the most cocky asshole, most unlikable, confident person.
Okay, I was going to talk about Rachel McAdams. We're going to hold off on her. And I know, gang, I know that that's what this month is all
why
about.
we're here.
This is my ultimate fantasy.
Oh, being able to redo.
It is all I've ever hoped and dreamed for. I like vividly. I had two fantasies growing up. I had this and the Clock Stoppers fantasy.
Oh.
Being able to stop time.
Being able
Jumpers, loopers.
No, Clock Stoppers starring Jesse Bradford.
Oh.
It was that movie. I never saw it, but they played the trailer on Disney all the time where you could like press your watch and then like time like slowed down and you could
you should watch Sex Criminal, or you should read Sex Criminals.
It's that, right? That is my fantasy, but I don't want to use it to
Yeah, well,
have crime and do sex. I don't know what I want to do it
It's so
for.
much more fun.
But the idea of like being able to travel back in time just a little bit where you no longer have to, like, for an insecure, anxious, someone who's in their head, I unfortunately, old me relates a lot to this character, which sucks. The ability to just say like, fuck it, I'm going to live freely and brashly, and if there are consequences, I'll just do it. If I'm embarrassed, I'll just do it again, which then really the secret you realize is just live that way.
Yeah.
Live every day, all the time, as if it's your perfect day, and there are no actual consequences for
that
putting
was
yourself
a
out there.
sweet moment
Blah, blah,
to
blah. But
realize
like,
that was the message of the movie.
That was the message that they landed on was very beautiful.
Yeah.
Where I mean,
cried.
Did you?
I cried with the dad.
The dad being like, here's my formula for a perfect life.
Yeah.
Live your day, go back, do the exact same thing that you just did, but just notice it. And
Basically,
it's like, fuck.
it's a be mindful message.
Be mindful.
It's like be here in the
it's
now.
look up.
they
and
have
appreciate
even
what you have
even a small moment where he pays
at the barista.
he like buys a sandwich and then he does it again and he's just like looking her in the eyes.
she's
Yeah, she's
smiling.
seeing that she's smiling and she's having a pleasant time, and like him running through the courthouse. And then he was just like, "Oh my God, look at
This room
this
is
building!
fucking
Look at this,
beautiful."
how beautiful this building is."
I cried.
I can teach you how to speak my language. Rosetta Stone, they're the expert in language learning for 30 years and an award-winning app where you can learn anytime, anywhere. Imagine you want to travel the world, perhaps to Paris. When someone asks you a question, do you want to say yes or do you want to say oui? That's why you gotta get on Rosetta Stone. They're the expert in language learning for 30 years and an award-winning app where you can learn anytime, anywhere. Sacre bleu! They've got 25 languages, including French, Spanish, Italian, Korean, Chinese, Japanese, Arabic, Polish, Dutch, so many more. Learn and make real progress in as little as 10 minutes at a time. You're gonna have these bite-sized pieces, and this goes beyond just vocab. This prepares you for real life, right? So it's going to focus on speaking practice, pronunciation with their true accent feature, and more. For a limited time, our listeners can get Rosetta Stone's lifetime unlimited subscription, which gives you access to all 25 of their languages forever for 40% off. Visit rosettastone.com/guilty today. Rosetta Stone, how language is learned. This episode is brought to you by BetterHelp. In a given week, say a given day, I'm, spending so many hours responding to emails and taking the dog for a walk. I am spending all this time giving energy to other people, which is great. But how much time am I actually spending on myself? Which is why I think it's so useful to have once a week, an hour set aside where I can talk to my therapist and check in with myself, see how I'm feeling. And BetterHelp makes it so easy. I can be anywhere I want to. I can do it from the comfort of my home, go on a nice walk, and if something comes up in my mind in between sessions, I can shoot them a message. I'm going to get a timely and thoughtful response right there in the app. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Find more balance with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/guiltypleasures today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/guiltypleasures.
Huge complaint that I have of this film is that he's a lawyer, and we don't see until the third act that he's wearing them goofy British wigs.
That's what they have to wear. That's what
know.
lawyers all have to wear.
Spoiler alert, the guy I'm sleeping with is a lawyer, and he said it's decorum. You have to put on a wig in order to go into the British.
Spoiler alert, the guy I'm sleeping with.
Hilarious.
I guess the spoiler alert was that you have to, if you want to be a lawyer in the UK, in court, if you want to do litigation, you have to wear a wig.
It's so fucking
It's just
funny.
a detail that
Fucked up.
we need to see that in the earlier. 'Cause it's crazy. I'm like, I just,
But it's British, so they're just like, this is just
it's a
what it
given.
is.
That's
And all of their
insane to me.
Law and Order shows have that scene.
No!
Yeah.
That's so funny.
It's fucking hilarious.
Who's doing? I mean, I guess they
Okay.
still believe in like
I
the
need a
Queen
sequel
and
to My
shit,
Cousin
so-
Vinny where Joe Pesci
God.
is doing a British court.
Okay,
well.
so I have a running theory that America's culture is based off of making fun of the British. Like, just at its core, like where we're like doing, we're not going to wear these goofy ass wigs when we're in a very serious situation as a way to distance it and look at the British doings or whatever, British traditions as like, that's really funny, that's corny, what the fuck, let's make fun of it. Like when I was out there, I'm like looking at all of these different stops. Like there's a town called like Cock Goblin or some shit like that, something wild. There's a lot of cocksberries is essentially, and I'm just like, that's really funny. What if the reason why we say cock is penis is because we're just making fun of British towns?
Yes.
Anyway,
Is it time to talk about Rachel McAdams?
Let's talk about our girl with bangs. I want to talk about Rachel McAdams with bangs for
McAdams
the
with
rest of my
bangs.
life.
Did you like the bangs?
Dog, yeah.
They're new
everything-
frills.
Everything
She-
works on her
fringe.
face.
She's got fringe. She comes out and she's like, I just cut them. I don't know. It looks kind of. She's hot. She's like we always see her with the side part, with the big curls, very notebooky. She comes out with fucking wavy Zooey Deschanel bangs, and she's cute as fuck.
She's always cute.
I want to rub her nose with mine. Doesn't that what that makes her want to do with those
She's always
bangs?
cute, and it's fucking crazy that this is Regina George. Like every time I see her in something that is not,
Mean
Girls
yeah.
or her being like meaner or more confident. I'm like, dog, your range is sensational.
Well, what's wild is that we meet her just by voice. He goes to a restaurant in the dark. It's one of those, like, you don't see anything. He and his best friend are seated next to Vanessa Kirby and Rachel McAdams. Can you imagine?
Oh my God.
Can you imagine?
God, that's like sitting down and being put next to Pedro Pascal and like you not knowing until you leave the restaurant.
That duo is upsetting.
That's so crazy.
Yeah.
But she's charming even in the dark.
Yeah.
And you just hear her voice. You're like, is that the most charming, beautiful woman I've ever seen? And I can't even see her. And then he's waiting outside, and Tim is like, please be pretty, please be pretty. And she stumbles out. She literally stumbles.
Falls.
Yeah.
She's this like innocent, delicate, dorky. It's so, we've talked about every iteration of Rachel McAdams, and the most shocking performance to me is seeing her play herself as like small and dorky and insecure. And I believe her. And I go, oh, Rachel, you wounded baby bird. Why don't you know who you are?
How do you not know how pretty you are?
And she wears like dorkish glasses at one point.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah. I fuck with it. I don't know. Like, I still seeing her as this dweeb. Well, also, I think that one of the most attractive things and most attractive qualities in someone in general is when they don't know how hot they are. When they just don't care about it, when they just kind of go about life as like, oh,
like me.
Like
This
Zach.
is what I say every day about you.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
like, thank
absolutely.
God he's so humble.
Absolutely.
He would be such a dick.
Zach
Not
doesn't.
truly, Rick. We say that about you.
No, God.
You're back.
Get the fuck out of here.
We always are like, he's gonna leave us one day.
I'm
when
not.
he wakes up.
Stop.
You and Sequoia, thank God. You both are just like, we're happy being in love with each other.
Yeah, we just
Oh,
fucking.
keep it that way.
Anyway,
Truly.
I feel like
I
once
can't take the compliments.
no,
I'm
thank
also
you
hot,
very
thank
much.
you.
Yes,
Yeah,
you
and
are,
Zach.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
Zach
yeah.
as well.
Zach.
Yeah.
Like I feel like if
Zach,
you
you
saw
married Maggie.
Zach's
Shut the
eyes,
fuck up.
yeah, you
I
married
don't wanna hear
Maggie.
shit.
You
I
relax.
don't want to hear shit.
Yeah, I think that's one of the coolest qualities that people can have. You know what you look like, but also like, who cares? Who gives a shit? Nobody gives a
Amen. Everyone's beautiful in their own way.
Yeah. So like seeing her do that and like stumble and all that, it's just so endearing. And it's so like, it just adds to the experience for me.
They go back to her house. They have this cute. Okay, so Tim meets her. He fucks it up. He travels back in time, and now like the phone number's missing. He has to meet her again. He goes to a Kate Moss exhibit, and that was. I expected there to be that consequence again and again and again.
Over and over and over. And that's what it sets you up for, is that he is never going to get this girl if he also wants to
perfect his
life. And I think that that's like the perfect analogy for happiness, where it's just like, it's kind of just random and it kind of just goes through you and you have to accept it.
They have this super cute date finally. She says, do you want to walk me back to my car? He says, yeah. They walk all through London. He's like, my God, how far is your car? And she's like, well, my car is actually parked outside my house. And he's like,
that's the fucking
That's
Riz,
it,
dog.
bro.
She was like, I'm
That's
gonna fuck this guy, but
She's got the Riz.
She's got the Riz.
She has the Riz.
That's what I'm saying. I'm sorry.
She's got the Riz.
She has it. Where she's
got
just
the
like, I'm
Riz.
gonna fuck this guy, but I'm going to say that I want him to walk me to my car, which is also
cute.
at my apartment.
And then wow. They go upstairs and she goes, still dork, but like hot dork. I'm going to go into my room and put on my pajamas. In a minute, you can take them off if you want to.
So Riz.
But here's the funniest thing. This woman wears grandpa pajamas. She wears long, full pant, full long sleeve button up with a collar.
It's bananas and
Old man
pajamas.
sleeping
Yeah.
It is Charlie in the Chocolate Factory.
Grandpa Joe.
Their Joe's
Like I
outfit.
was truly expecting her to have a nightcap, a lantern,
And a
or
tiny
like
bear.
a tiny bear, or like
Yes.
just like, oh, what's going on? Yeah.
She goes up and she says, I'm going to slip into something more comfortable. But she actually meant it.
Yeah, oh,
Yeah, no,
She
no,
wore
she meant
something
it.
more comfortable.
Yeah.
Can I
she
tell
meant
you what the guy that I'm dating said when we saw
We
that
need a fake
scene?
name for him.
We call him Sir on the podcast.
Love
so
that.
Sir, he pauses and he starts laughing. He goes, Kelsey, you did this exact thing to me on our first date. You went upstairs, you put on a double XL, 2XL t-shirt with nothing else, and you came downstairs and you went, hey.
Well,
double XL t-shirt on and nothing else, like
Well,
a child in their father's big Schwartz
Sir
shirt.
is a fucking. I mean, he doesn't understand the power of a girl in a t-shirt.
In a t-shirt.
Because that is top tier.
I think though I did look like maybe a toddler in her father's shirt, like
Okay, well. Hey, what's up?
Well, they have this entire life together. I mean, I was actually surprised the breadth of this film.
Yeah.
It goes through
A lot of
essentially
time.
their entire
their
life
whole
together.
life, yeah.
I do. Animation. I'm sorry. There's the Emmy-winning Vat of Acid episode of Rick and Morty does this
good.
very well. Does this entire story extremely well. Rick creates something for Morty out of spite where he can save his place in life and he can keep on going back to that save point whenever he wants to. And it's essentially the same story where he can just kind of just go back and like fix things and do things that he wants, knowing that he'll always go back to this safe point. But then he loses the ability, of course, and then he's stuck in a time and then he falls in love with somebody. And then what I wanted to see in this movie is that he gets to a point where he cannot go back, like the baby thing, but he that point is a point where she doesn't love him. And then he's just like, fucked.
Or I was wondering if there was going to be, I was expecting like some sort of tragedy.
Yeah.
I was expecting like no matter what you do, you're going to lose her.
Yeah.
Or like
Yeah.
that she's going to die or you get to a point, like, you know, you see him try and save her a million different ways.
Yeah.
And no matter what, it's
Yeah.
just not going to work.
It's a rom-com, guys.
It's a rom-com. It's
I
not
know.
a tragedy.
I know
but
it's not a tragedy.
My
but
biggest
like,
pain point was that he never fucking told her.
Yeah, it's a little, it's a little rude.
That dude, he told his sister.
Yep.
Yeah.
But
well, in one timeline, then she forgot because
And then
he
she
said,
forgot.
you know what? Actually, you are going to get into that in your fatal car crash.
Yeah,
but like
okay.
the audacity.
Yeah.
If I married some motherfucker who could do some dope shit like that, and then you don't tell me, knowing our relationship is saved in every timeline, no matter what. Fuck you.
Yeah,
Fuck you. You're an asshole.
It's just all kind of wild because I feel like when you endow someone with godlike powers, the entire point of this sci-fi trope, I guess, is to prove that it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
That life is still
That's
more
why
powerful.
we expected it to not be a tragedy, but a cautionary tale because godlike
She finds
stories,
out, and it would have been, oh my God, this big thing, and then it turns out not to be.
even not that it's a perfect movie, like Bruce Almighty is a cautionary
Almighty.
tale.
Yeah.
These are all
Yeah.
cautionary tales. Richard
Yeah.
Curtis said, no, it's a little treat.
It's
a
a
little
feel
bit.
good.
It's a treat.
Yeah,
I mean, the biggest drama moment that this is where I did start to cry and where it did start to get the message of beauty across is when you find out the father has cancer and there's nothing they can go back to change because it could have been anything environmental, genetics.
And he can't go back to change it because that would mean losing his children.
kids.
He
and-
said, maybe it was smoking, but I can't go back and change that.
because your mother would have never fallen in love with me if I wasn't a sexy smoker. So they can't go back.
He wouldn't have been born.
We need to talk about him. The dad played by Bill Nighy.
Thank you.
The fucking God
Goat.
himself.
Yeah.
This is Field in My Fingers, Field in My Toes from Love Actually.
It's,
Fingers.
oh my God, it is.
Yeah.
It is.
He's one of my favorite actors.
So weird.
He's not in a ton.
So weird.
And every time he is, you know that it's going to be baller.
Yeah.
I actually would want to watch
John
this.
Leguizamo of British people.
There you go. I would actually want to watch this back again, knowing what I know now about the dad, because there was something about his character that was like effortlessly stress-free.
Yeah.
That was so confident, and he only
got
goes
that-
back to
He's got the
change.
Riz.
He's got the
got
fucking
mad
Riz.
Riz.
He's got the
Swag.
He's got the
Yeah.
fucking Randall Riz, the
And-
slimy Riz. I fucking love it.
I cannot believe. And he the moment that is my ultimate favorite is his father knew that one day his death would come, and he preps his son in his timeline so that when he does tell him, the son goes, "We've had this conversation before, haven't we?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "Yeah, I've practiced it. And before I was a mess and I actually hugged you." And it's like, oh my God, you get to see that humanness of the dad learning how to, he's grappled with his own death for years. He's already knows how this
He
is
knows
going
how
to
he's gonna
go.
die because his son has come back and told him that he dies.
And then he gets the moment where you're at the father's funeral and you
That-
want, he wants to visit his dad one last time before. Well, no, it's not one last time.
He just wants to visit
he
him.
wants to visit him, and he goes back, and you get to see the dad sitting on the couch. And I lost my shit because I thought, how unfair of a superpower to have where you can go do that, but you can't bring the mom, you can't bring the sister now.
Yeah.
And he just goes back and he sits and he reads with his dad. And then finally the scene that was just the nail in the coffin for me was when his wife wants to have a second baby, but that means third baby, that means because his father's already passed in real time, he wouldn't be able to go back and even visit his dad anymore.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And
That
he
was
goes
tough.
back and the dad goes, oh, so this is it, is it?
Yeah.
This is the, and oh my God, I was so unwell.
That was tough. That was a tough one because
Yeah.
there was I thought that chunk of time travel lore was fantastic.
really good.
That was really,
Yeah.
really well done. Like the dad being able to do it and knowing about this situation, like I guess the time travel between the son and the dad, I feel like that relationship
Would've
was the
been,
one
yeah,
that was like that
to
really
watch.
stood out for me because
Agreed.
also there was that point where he finally chose his dad for his best man, and then he was like, fuck, I didn't say I love you during the speech, and he's just like, you don't have to, and he's like, I'm going to, and then he goes back and he says, I
And
love
later,
you.
the uncle says that, your dad said that he loved me at your wedding. It was the best moment of my life.
Yeah, and
And it's really sweet. I felt that this was a more effective father-son love story than it was
then it was a love
Rachel
story
McAdams
between-
love story.
absolutely.
Yeah.
It feels
Absolutely.
wrong that we're ending McAdams Mania with a movie that I don't think she was the most important
No,
piece
she was. It was
to the
between
story.
the
I mean, she's the
father and
best
son.
part.
Yeah.
She's easily the best part.
Do you know that in real life who Bill Nye is dating?
No.
Ooh.
Anna Wintour.
What?
What?
What a freaky, hot-ass,
That's
old,
sick.
sleek couple.
That's
How
sick.
did that happen?
That's where
I have
the
no
fucking
idea.
Riz, the fucking slimy Riz.
Yo.
If you haven't seen Spider-Verse yet, the fucking
haven't.
Spider-Punk Riz, that's what it is. It's just that
Holy
very
shit.
deep British anarchist vibe.
How long
that
have
he
they
probably
been together?
I don't know.
I gotta know.
Anna, I thought it'd be nice if we had a little cognac and made love by the fireplace.
Yeah,
Holy shit. I can't even with that information.
I mean, just going back to the father and son time travel part.
Can I say one more stupid thing?
Yes.
It's wild. You have a movie with Rachel McAdams, Vanessa Kirby, Margot Robbie, Bill Nye. He's the hottest one in it.
He's the hottest one in it, unfortunately. Sorry, ladies. You're not as hot as this 70-year-old man. Back to their relationship, the father and son. Like, there was that one really fun moment where he comes back from the funeral, and then he just gets to ask about his funeral. Like, the dad gets to be like, oh, well, what's it like? And, is my brother wearing a suit? Or what kind of suit is he wearing? How many people are there? That's a beautiful, kind of fun moment, I thought.
A scene we have to talk about is the wedding. Now, a lot of people are going to remember it because it is the poster moment of them laughing in the rain. It is a beautiful moment in that everything goes wrong, right? Their wedding is overrun with torrential downpour. The tent falls, it flies away. Everyone is soaking wet, but they choose to live in the moment and love it and accept it, which is really sweet. I don't want to talk about that. I want to talk about Rachel McAdams walking down the aisle in a red dress.
Yeah.
In a red wedding dress.
Two, so we'll talk about that. But two, the way that she shimmies her shoulders.
Yes.
What the fuck is going on there?
She said, this is a silly, goofy time. Look at me. Like, again, these are details that would come from a book.
She's a
where
dork.
it's like she had a red wedding dress. She shimmied down the aisle to a goofy-ass Italian opera song. But, like, no. It's McAdams being McSilly.
Having the McZoomies
She's
at
having
her
the
wedding.
She's having the McZoomies.
Yeah.
Did you like the red wedding dress?
I thought it was iconic. It was so fucking weird. Would I personally choose that? Never. No. Not
Well,
even.
you
in
wouldn't get married.
Barcelona. Yeah, thank you. But also just wild. I've never seen a red wedding dress.
was
Yeah,
a
that was like a
choice.
choice because I thought she was coming down the aisle for someone else's wedding. I was
Like
like,
as a
oh, it's not your
bridesmaid?
wedding. But I guess that's just cultural. Like, if we had a culture of red wedding dresses, which is, again, another fucking crazy thing that the butterfly effect could have inflicted if he kept going back and forth, it would have been like, oh, this is normal. People wear red wedding dresses rather than white wedding dresses. So this is, Anyway.
We follow no rules.
Anyway, it was just so, it was so interesting to go with a red wedding dress because it also felt like she was the Grim Reaper, like she was issuing death in a weird way.
I don't think I liked it.
I don't think I liked it either.
And the way that she shimmied, it was a little too goofy for me. It was like, what is, I don't know. It made me laugh.
Yeah.
The ending deeply confused me. Oh, actually, quick guilt. There's 2 Chinese jokes as throwaways in this movie.
It is?
One was weird, and then 2, I'm like, you have a thing.
Right.
I didn't catch those.
Right. Yeah. I'm not.
They weren't offensive jokes, but it was just like
the
punchline was Chinese.
Yeah, the punchline was we don't respect the Chinese.
Oh God.
Yeah.
One of the jokes. Well, we
on.
don't have to overblow it, but one of the jokes was
we have
2 children. We only 2 children. Imagine 3, and he goes, well, that's more than the Chinese allowed. And I'm like, that's
so strange.
Weird. And then there was another joke about them playing ping pong, and it was like the first time it's not a Chinese person.
Yeah.
Just, I noticed these things.
Yeah.
Weird. Again.
2 is a pattern. I'll say that the ending deeply confused me, and it felt like it
was abrupt.
Sputtered.
Yeah.
I was looking away, and I looked up, and it
it
said
was
the
over.
end, and I was like, bitch.
It is like so first of all, it feels like script wise, Richard Curtis was like trying to find his way into some grand metaphor about time travel. Cause they say the line, we're all traveling through time, really? And it's like, bitch, no, we're not.
The sci-fi is not sound.
What?
And the whole time I was like, this is why you don't do fucking time travel, because it doesn't,
this is coming from a Rick and Morty expert, so let's hear it.
It works to it. That's why, Rick and Morty doesn't do time travel most of the time because...
Time travel is tough.
Yeah.
It's tough. It's impossible to really think about all of the factors that you would change. That's why, like, the butterfly effect exists and all of that, where you will go back in time, change one small thing, and then it will literally tear the fabrics of reality to a place where it's unrecognizable to you. And for him to keep going back and forth to change these really small things, and then his life be him still living in the same house, him still with this girl in the same in this instance. If you I'm skipping ahead a little bit, but it's just like if he were to go back, save his sister's life from meeting this guy, and then come back, literally there are so many different things that he just changed for having her, because he went back so far, for having her not meet this person. He could have not met Rachel McAdams' character.
You must be fun at parties.
I am not. I am not.
Come on, Rick, we've suspended belief for every fucking film we do on this podcast.
Yeah.
But not for McAdams.
Not for sci-fi. I'm not going to do it for sci-fi.
I agree.
Yeah.
It is, so they try and get away with it by having the dad mention the butterfly effect early on.
But his excuse is, well, it hasn't affected our family this far.
Yeah, we haven't started any wars. Like, it's just like, they basically assume that if you're really careful, nothing else will change. But what is wild in this movie is that he will go back in time and make huge
Sweeping
fucking changes.
Yeah.
And only one thread of reality is changed. Yeah. But we know that if you were to change if you eat chicken instead of salmon for lunch, you're in the bathroom for a different amount of time, and then the air is different, and your dog isn't where, like, it just has this cascade effect where now, oh, I didn't feel like going to that bar that night. I went somewhere else and I didn't meet the love of my life. Or also, we got to the open house at the wrong time and we weren't feeling it and we decided to buy a different house. Like, it's just, it's crazy.
You bought a different house, you buy a different house, and now you're in a smaller space, and now your wife is arguing about the fact that our life could have been different if we had gotten that last house, and now you're divorced. Like, all of these things.
There are 2 rules that we discover that they try to make it with a little high stakes, which is like the birth and death rule, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, if you go back to try and change something before a birth, the baby that you come back to will be different because
You've changed your semen.
You've changed your semen.
Yeah.
So they know that 1 in a billion chance is possible there. Yeah. And then remind me the death rule.
The death is that you can't after someone dies, and if you have another oh no, I guess that's the same
That's
rule.
the same rule. You just can't go back
can't
in
go
time.
back past. Before the birth.
Yeah.
So it's interesting though, because I watched this movie knowing what should happen with the butterfly effect. I experienced this like a horror movie with the tension that was never broken.
Yeah.
Because
Oh,
I was
man.
expecting the whole time this to be a cautionary tale of like, oh, fuck, oh, he's going to blow it all. Because this guy is really
reckless.
really reckless with his time travel and going back for every little thing, and they use it like a joke over and over and over
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
Where like he'll be on a date and he'll try it 3 times, or like you have the very funny where like the first time he sleeps with Rachel McAdams, he travels back again to
Yeah.
have better sex, and then he travels back again to have
Better sex.
insane sex. And you're like,
Yeah.
oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
But then he'll like travel back to his 10th birthday, and you're like, oh,
Yeah,
fuck,
you
what's
can't
gonna
do
happen?
that. Oh,
And then it's
God.
okay. And I'm like, okay, it's fine this time, but
Yeah.
next time. And
Yeah.
I just like, I my chest still hurts
Yeah.
from the way I was clutching it. And
Yeah.
then the movie ended, I'm like,
Here's the thing I
okay.
learned after the film. I thought for sure, well, this is based on a book. This has to be about a book because this will explain in detail. Because how could you just write the line, oh, butterfly effect hasn't affected our family. We haven't started any wars or anything. Like there were lines where I was like, oh, this will definitely be dived into more in the book. This was written just a screenplay for a movie.
Richard Curtis.
I went, what the fuck? So he didn't have to follow any rules.
No.
There was a contained world in which we went, okay.
No. But I feel like the reason why we are harping on this in general about like how it wouldn't work is because they mention the rule that they then break. Like the biggest thing with sci-fi is like you set your rules and you don't break them ever, or else it doesn't make sense anymore.
Yeah.
For you to bring up the butterfly effect and then say that, don't worry about it, we won't, you'll be fine and all that stuff, and then the butterfly effect happens. All right, so now what world are we in? What are we doing? Like, if the butterfly effect exists in this world, then you have to abide
it.
by it.
Yeah.
We do get to, so to that point, we get to see him make one decision where we're skipping ahead a little bit, but his relationship with his sister is very nice and cute, and we love to see them take care of each other. But his sister turns out with a shitty guy. She makes a bunch of shitty decisions, ends up getting into a wreck when she's drunk. And we see the brother say, I'm going to go back to the time where you met him, and I'm going to not let you meet him. And that way you'll not fall for shitty guys and keep making the same mistakes over and over again. So that when he comes back to the present, he realizes his baby daughter, who is like less than a year old, is now a baby boy. And it's a very funny scene when he walks in.
This to me was the biggest gasp of the movie.
that was
Yes.
Where, first of all,
'Cause you're-
you bring your sister back in time
Yes.
to years before you meet the love of your
Which
life,
was
Rachel
a rule
McAdams.
we didn't know we could do. We didn't know we could hold hands with someone
Right,
and
bring
bring
them
them back.
Yeah.
So you bring your sister back in time. I first of all expect your entire life is going to be changed.
Yeah.
But it isn't. Only this one thing. The sister comes back to the present, and suddenly she's flooded with
It's
memories
strange.
of what her life was, which is like, oh, that's kind of confusing but neat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you come back to the present and you realize and remember all in an instant what your new life
Life
would
is.
be.
Yeah.
And he gets home and he's like, oh, all this wealth, sister's with my best friend. They've been happily married, or they're happily getting together. He gets home. He's like, hey, wife, everything's the same. House is the same. He walks downstairs to his baby, lifts her up, and is like, there's my baby boy. And he goes, hello, little boy. And it's just this smiling baby boy back at him. And he's like, oh, fuck.
But what's crazy and why I gasped harder than I did at any point in this movie is that he went back in time to stop his sister from getting into a near fatal car crash.
Yeah.
He comes back to the present. His daughter is now a son.
Yeah.
And in my mind, watching the movie, we've seen the daughter for like a scene.
Yeah.
So like, I'm not connected to this thing.
No.
It's been alive for 3 months. You
Yeah.
know, whatever.
No,
Like,
you can't
you
not have
ain't
your
not-
daughter.
so, and then he immediately goes, I'll be right back. And then it cuts to the sister getting into a car crash
Yeah.
again. And I honestly, the movie didn't have fucking balls there. I'm like, no, commit
Ew.
to the choice. Kill the sister.
sister.
I want to see you, like, trolley
Choose.
problem, have to choose my daughter
Or my
versus my
sister.
sister.
Yeah.
And instead, he's just like, well, I actually really fancied having a baby girl instead of a baby boy.
Yeah.
Sister, you're on your own. But like, that decision really shocked me.
Here's the other thing.
I
His
think
sister was drinking and driving.
Yeah.
And she didn't go to jail.
Yeah.
She didn't get any probation.
Yeah, that was kind of crazy.
I was like, they must have explained that in the book. Guess what? There is no book.
Yeah, I think that this was. I mean, I do think it's a well written movie.
Yeah.
I just don't think that the screenwriter really knew about time travel or like knew about like the butterfly effect or like really.
I don't think he cared.
Research.
No,
I don't think he cared.
I don't think he
I don't think he
cared either.
researched it. I think it's something that you can kind of like explain away. But yeah, I feel like there was a really, really nice opportunity with the sister's car crash to just be like, you have to allow people to make mistakes.
Yeah.
You really have to just allow them to learn from those mistakes. You cannot helicopter time travel parent your little sister.
It's only your life.
You kind of just have to let it, because she does end up with the friend eventually because
you
of
need
the
to let
mistakes.
people make mistakes.
You need to let people make mistakes.
Which
And
our
that's
girl McAdams says.
Yeah.
She tells her, she's like, I think you have to let her figure it out on her own.
Yeah.
And he goes, no, I have this secret time travel thing.
I thought that's what the movie was going to turn into, where he was just going to consistently like click, where he just keeps on rewriting his mistakes, and then he learns from the fact that he needs to allow them to happen in order to become a better person. I thought that's where this was going to go, where like every time he went back in time to fix things to be better, his relationship was going to then be held in the balance, where it's just like, I need to stay in a relationship with this woman, but I also want to get a promotion at work, and then you come back home and she's gone.
Right. I expected every time he tries to fix his life, he ruins it in another way.
He ruins it in another way. Yeah. Which I think, I don't know if that would have made a better story. All I know is that
This is what we
This was
expected.
a
it's what I
rom-com, baby.
expected.
This wasn't a drama.
Yeah, I would have just loved if that were the angle that they went on with the sister, but rather than that, it did turn into something that was also pretty beautiful. I think he sets up endings to say that they're going to keep on living happily ever after in like an actual way, if that makes sense.
It was as regular as they treated the time traveling movie.
Yeah.
Regular.
I think he
wrap-up.
tries to do this thing where he shows, we've been telling this one specific story,
But it's
really,
happening everywhere.
it's everyone's
Universal.
story.
All
And I'm
the
like, well,
time.
no, it isn't.
We gotta dive into why only these men can talk. What sex is that? I need more on the lore.
Exactly. Why not
Yeah.
the sister?
Why not?
I mean, it would have been really cool if he was like, I can't have a son because I want to get rid of this ability.
See, but y'all trying to make it a drama that it ain't.
Yeah, I know,
It's
we
a
wrote
British
this about.
rom-com.
But then, okay, so you have all this stock footage, and then it cuts to Rachel McAdams on the phone, and she goes, bye-bye. And then it cuts to him, and he says, I'll see you later.
And
Cut
that's
to
the
black.
end of the movie.
end. And it's a very quick, bye-bye, I'll see you later, black.
You
It
think
is
they're
rapid
meeting up
edit.
somewhere?
Why? It is a love story, and the final image is them separated
Yeah.
in quick edits after a montage
I
of
didn't
random
like
people we
it.
haven't
Together.
seen, and then it fades in, and text says "the end." I guarantee you, because they did a screening, and people were like, "Wait, is it over?" So they're like, "All right, well, we'll add the word "the end" so people know that it's the end."
I
Pissed
was
me off.
curious what they were on their way to do.
Yeah.
I needed to know what were they mean. I thought she was going to go, okay, see, and he was going to go, okay, bye. And then that it was like the split screen was going to fade to reveal they just were walking into each other being like, hi.
I mean, it's like
That ending only would have worked if he has been time traveling to make sure that he has this relationship and ruining everything else in his life.
It was
but
wild.
if it's not that, then then it's just there.
You know, Garrick and I keep talking about this story that could have been, and it really makes me wonder if there was,
An
if the
alternate
script
ending.
was changed in the edit and rearranged. Who knows? Maybe we'll find out, Rainie? Nope, we won't.
I actually looked for an alternate ending, and the internet doesn't. I scrubbed the internet for 4 minutes, and it didn't.
Wow, 4 minutes. That's like 3 extra than we normally get for fun facts.
That's a quick scrub or a quick deep. I think that's a long scrub. Let's be real.
Yeah.
It's a thorough scrub.
It's a thorough scrub.
Do we have any fun facts for this?
Fun facts.
With Zach's back.
Wowee.
What?
Gang, our original cast for Mary dropped out due to scheduling conflicts.
There it is.
And honestly,
What?
the hair makes sense now.
Tell us.
Zoe Deschanel.
Zoe Deschanel.
Oh my Christ.
Fuck.
They made it an entire plot point to be like, this isn't Zoe Deschanel, but we fucking tried, you guys.
Which makes her being an awkward little turtle make all more sense.
She maybe studied Zoe for this
Oh,
role.
do you think that?
Rachel McAdams is playing Zoe Deschanel.
Yes,
Oh, God.
think of it that way through your brain and it makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, do you think that she was doing 500 Days of Summer? And that's why she couldn't. Is this the same era or year
Maybe.
of filming?
That's fascinating. It also, though, the idea of Zoe Deschanel being like, my bangs are new. It's like, no, they literally are stapled to your forehead.
Have you seen her without bangs?
Yeah, it's weird.
Yep. She doesn't look like the same person, and that's why people said Miley Cyrus Hannah Montana movie worked, because of Zoe Deschanel with and without bangs.
That's fair.
Production tried a bunch of different VFX approaches for the time travel. They contracted tons of effects houses to make it feel more like a spectacle, and every time it just was, quote, just completely wrong tonally, and they went with this more low-key approach, which actually I really liked. It was something that I thought was fun. Seeing such a grounded cinematic approach to time travel was nice.
I think so. I think that was very cool. I thought that like how they portrayed the sci-fi of it all was just grounded, and it made it seem like it was a cheap movie to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The idea came from Curtis having lunch with a friend. The subject of happiness came up. He admitted that he wasn't happy, and the conversation turned towards how do you live an ideal day? So he started writing a movie about, quote, how you achieve happiness in ordinary life, and then was like, this is boring and too simple, and he added time travel on top of it to get to that idea.
Yeah, exactly. So if you do sci-fi as an afterthought for a story, this is exactly what happens.
This is just fun. This is a surprise huge hit in South Korea.
Oh.
We love McAdams Mania in South Korea. Go off.
And finally, the walk that they do, Rachel McAdams, to her apartment. 6 miles.
Fuck.
It's like a 3-hour walk.
Yeah.
That's when you
Is
know
it a
you're on a
3 hour?
date you don't want to end, is you can walk 6 fucking miles and still have sex after.
That is if charting out the locations
Of the restaurant.
the restaurant to her
That's
flat.
the internet
Yeah.
doing the internet's thing.
I'm going to
good.
tell you right now.
I'm not walking
Even
6
Rachel,
miles.
I'm not. After 6 miles,
No.
I'm not. I'm
Yeah.
going home.
It's
I'm
not that you
sitting.
don't want to. It's
I
my
can't.
feet, my
Yeah.
calves.
I'm done.
I walked
Yeah.
around Pride on Sunday for like 2 miles, and my I'm aching.
calves are-
Ain't
my
no
dogs
hitting
be
it after
barking.
6 mile
Calves are in
walk.
pain.
Yeah.
Also, like, take the fucking train. Take the train one
It would
good
ruin
time,
her
2 good
plan
time.
to say
I-
my car's.
She was wearing heels.
I understand that. Yeah.
No
was
wonder
wearing
she
it.
slipped into them comfy pajamas.
Yeah. Her
I don't blame.
feet
Yeah,
were
the pajamas
fucking
make a lot
bleeding.
more sense now.
Now's the time for us to decide, is this film a pleasure, a guilty pleasure, or just plain
Tough.
guilty?
Tough.
Zach, do we think
Okay.
we should let Garrick go first to get it out of the way?
Get what out of the way.
Well, you know.
Oh, no, I don't.
Don't lie to me.
No.
Tell me what this is, Garrick.
It's a guilty pleasure.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I think it's a guilty pleasure because I feel like it touches on tones that I kind of liked and lessons that I've kind of liked. And I do still think that it was a well-written movie. And I can't let my biases of loving sci-fi and knowing that is it Domhnall
Gleeson?
Domhnall Gleeson was also in one of the best sci-fi movies in Ex Machina.
You're right.
So the fact that these two things are there on his resume is kind of interesting, kind of weird. The sci-fi on About Time is like wild, whatever. But if you take all of that away, I still think that you're left with a really, really nice-ish story about people living their lives in the moment rather than thinking about everything and being anxious about every single decision you make.
Yeah, we've been straight pleasures all month, but this is my first guilty
Wow.
pleasure of McAdams Mania.
Yeah.
Because I found this movie totally confounding.
Yeah.
It is, there's so much that works and so much potential.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
And-
much potential.
And like I want them to do it again. Like
I want a book.
I really
Yeah.
there's so much potential here. And it doesn't all totally click. I honestly don't think that the love story totally clicks.
No. The chemistry between the two of them is actually really nice, though.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, even that moment where they. I'm sorry, I'm jumping on your review.
Go ahead.
But even in
I've
that
never
moment,
jumped on you. It's fine.
even in that moment of him running back into Margot Robbie, realizing that he can sleep with Margot Robbie, doesn't want to do that, runs back home, marries Rachel McAdams. I thought that was like such a nice.
I'm so glad you brought that up
We
because
forgot.
it is a very hilarious, fun, cute, romantic scene. But you take that out of a rom-com, if someone wakes me up while I am sleeping to propose, jail.
Yeah, straight to jail.
Prison.
You wake me up. I got sleepy, stanky poo-poo breath. I am in my bed in pajamas. I can't even take a cute pic. Yeah. I'm like, I can't even be excited. I can't go like, oh my God, I gotta come. I'm like, what? You want to get married? That's cute. Can I go back to bed? Jail.
Yeah, it's like I'm not gonna remember that. I might wake up thinking that was a fucking dream.
Yeah.
And like, oh, I'm sorry, you're like proposing on a whim because you just like got a tickle in your pickle.
You got a ring?
He ain't got a ring. He just is like, oh, I just
No riz.
I thought about
riz.
fucking
No riz dom.
And let's talk about the actual moment. I thought about fucking Margot Robbie, but then I decided, no, I don't want that. I want you. Like, fuck you.
No, you know he's pitching that as I had the chance. She wanted me.
Yeah.
And I realized in that moment
You
how
walked
much I
up to
loved
her
you.
apartment door.
Yeah, you know what was going on.
You knew.
Guilty, straight to
you
jail.
literally-
You went
Straight to jail.
literally-
That's what makes this movie unbelievable. Is that Margot Robbie wanted to fuck him?
And Rachel McAdams.
Oof.
You literally did the exact same thing that you did with your now wife on your first date or your first hookup,
Damn.
and you didn't see this one coming.
Yeah, he tried. It actually really confused me and as the movie was happening because he time travels 3 times to have this perfect encounter with Margot Robbie, and I'm like, wait, I'm sorry. Is Rachel McAdams like she's just out of the movie all of a sudden, and he's like trying to date this lost love of his past life, and I was like really confused.
Yeah.
And then he goes, oh, wait a second, I love my Rachel. I must go marry her, and I'm like, bitch, you were time traveling to try and cheat on her.
Yeah.
Dom Hall, you ain't got no riz, you little fuck boy, and you know what? You don't deserve it.
About Time Has No Riz is the title of this episode.
That's my takeaway is he doesn't deserve her.
There you go.
He had to use time travel, and he still almost fucked it up.
Well, you're getting a triple GP this week, guys, because same. I am exactly in the same boat as Zach in that I could not tell you what genre this movie belongs on. Couldn't really tell you the best part of it because it was all worth watching. And I think you should see it if for nothing else to get the message, the sweetness, to feel something. But other than that, I don't know.
Yeah, that back half is really nice.
Yeah.
I think I think it's split into 2 different movies that are trying to convey 2 different points. And like it switches halfway through to something really nice. And at the beginning, it's just like all weird fun and games / confusing.
Yeah.
My pleasure. These are things in media that we are enjoying. And I'm going to go ahead and say that I want to recommend that you go on to the hell site that is Twitter and give some love to the animators for the newest Spider-Verse film.
Oh my God.
I'm sure you honestly would probably just say that go see that movie. Maybe you want to start there? Is that your pleasure?
Yeah, no, it's not. It's not. But please,
Well,
I'm just still go see that movie.
The craft and animation of that movie is shocking.
Yeah.
It's stunning.
Yeah.
But I have found, frankly, more pleasure in seeing how excited the animators are of that movie, going into the behind the scenes of how they approached and the thought and the care. If you have not seen the film, there's a character, Spider-Punk Hobie. He's a real standout, and he's all about anarchism and being punk and not being consistent. And so as a result, they like animated different elements of him on different frames. So like one of this thing would be on the 2s, one on the 3s, because they wanted it to not be consistent. They wanted the art style to change.
Yeah.
There's all of this thought and care. It's just really remarkable to see such a passion put into craft. So really special stuff.
Yeah, it's really special. I'll go next. We are talking about time travel, and Kelsey is bringing up I wanted to see About Time as a book. There is a book that is pretty similar. It's called The Man Who Folded Himself.
Oh.
And it is about a man who keeps on going back in time and pretty much like fixing certain aspects about his life, and then realizing that he is not going into like that timeline where he gets to keep on playing out himself, but he is going back in time and then bumping into himself and telling himself to do these certain things. And it's just really, really fantastic. It's really, really good to see like how wild things get. It's really crazy to see what people would actually do with time travel. And I think that it's a really good read. It's a really good love story also.
Fuck, this whole time you guys have been talking, I've been going through all of my things being like, what have I been watching? What have I been looking at? But I feel like I've been listening to the same audiobook for a couple weeks and I just finished it. It was called Happy Place, which I think I recommended a few weeks ago. And it's a good listen for if you're aging and growing apart from your friend groups and relationships in your 30s, which is a interesting topic for me. So instead of recommending that, I'm just going to say, if you want the podcast version of that, come on over and listen to Confidently Insecure.
Oh, nice.
Podcast where we're absolutely sure we don't know everything. We're doing Gay Month. Which, if this comes out at the right time, then yeah, we're doing Pride Month stuff. So come on in and take a listen. We got Confident Bottom stickers. We just did Pride Month.
You've been doing.
Go binge it.
This is the end of June that we're at.
Yeah. I'll bring you guys some stickers. We made Confident Bottom stickers and Slut Pills merch, which is very funny.
Love it.
Pills.
Yeah. Take your slut pills in the morning.
Well, gang, get your slut pills over for Kelsey. And we got our Familia and Goofy's Fat Ass merch over at the Guilty Pleasure store, tryguys.com/guilty. Rep it proud, tag us. It really delights us to no end. I'm at Corn Diddy and all the things.
I'm Kelsey Darragh and all the things.
I'm Garrick Bernard and all the things.
And until next time, I'm a wee little lad that has no riz.